to John Cola with growingyourgreens.com, coming at you from my winter garden here. I'm going to do a garden tour here pretty soon. You guys can see I got the broccoli. They're coming on. Got little baby broccolis I got to start to harvest. I got cauliflower already. I got like 2 different kinds. I got like blue dazzling kale. Actually, it's starting to go to flower, unfortunately. I got regular dino kale, spinach here, red boar kale, lettuces, kamatsunas, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, in this episode, we're going to be answering your guys' questions. So if you have a question for me to answer, post a link down below. You will put it in my community tab, and I select questions out of my community tab, as well as look through some of the questions that have been posted under videos to answer in episodes like this. I try to do episodes like this about once a month. So yeah, post your questions down below if you would like to get it answered in an upcoming Q&A if I select it. All right, first question is from Ramos Family Adventures. Where's the best place in Vegas to buy already sprouted potted trees such as mulberry and jujube? We're preparing our backyard to start planting fruit trees and veggies in the upcoming spring. So, here's the thing I'll say is that Vegas sucks for nurseries, like straight up. You got Moon Valley, which is overpriced in my opinion. And then you got Star Nursery, which is probably your best option. Then you got like the big box, like Lowe's and Home Depot. And basically, my opinion is that it's just subpar. I mean, I come from California where there's actually good nurseries. So, that's what I'd tell you. I would say that if you did, the best place would probably be Star Nursery, but then if you go there, you're going to maybe find the Lee and Lang jujube, which are like, I mean, they're decent, but they kind of suck. From what I know, that mulberries are illegal to plant here, so, maybe because of the pollen problem. So you may have to order them online if you want to drive to like Seamus O'Leary down in Phoenix, or if you want to go to some of the nurseries down in Southern California. Those are probably some of your best bets. Or for jujubes, actually, I'd recommend the local jujube guy. He has all kinds of things sprouted and planting in his backyard. He has the best varieties of jujubes in Vegas, I guarantee it. Link down below to that. I don't know if his email or contact information is in there, but that dude has got the best jujubes. I mean, I got a tree from him recently. It's like super tiny. It's actually a root cutting. But yeah, he's got the best, so that's what I'd say. Go to him. Otherwise, order some cool varieties online or take a drive to Phoenix. And it's very important, guys. Like when guys are buying a fruit tree, it's very important to select the right one the first time because it's going to be there for many years to come. Whereas vegetables are like seasonal items, so they're not quite as important. Next question is from Melody Connoisseur 5985. We grow our food in a small garden in the town in the south. Besides the usual pests, we have visiting raccoons and groundhogs that have almost totally wiped out our vegetable garden, apples, and pawpaws. Any suggestions? We don't want to harm them. Thank you. All right. So that's a good question. I've never had to deal with groundhogs, although I did have a raccoon in my California garden. And I'm not the expert on this, but what I would say personally, if I had groundhogs or raccoons, I would say build fences around everything, which would probably not even be easy to do, like in an orchard, like for your trees. Maybe in a vegetable garden you could do that. I would say find predators to raccoons and groundhogs. I'm sure if you had some dogs that were free roaming, maybe even a pack of dogs, always around on your land, that's going to definitely run them off. I could say that maybe you could put out traps and rehome them, which is probably like illegal, like live catch traps. That's probably illegal to like rehome animals, unfortunately, where we live in most places that I'm aware of. I don't really know what else to say. Maybe like they got like these deterrents like coyote urine and all these things, but I don't think that's really going to work. They got like sprinkler things. You can set out like a scarecrow sprinkler. You basically set it out and it's a motion sensor and then like it'll spray them with water. I mean, that may work. I don't, that's all the suggestions I could give you because I have never dealt with them myself. I would also say check with your local master gardeners because they would probably know more than me. All right. Next question is from Dave Brown 7009. Dealing with pests, especially peppers, is there a good way to diagnose when the damage is done in the middle of the night? All right. So for pests, if something's eating your leaves, like for me, like I want to know what's eating it actually. So I'm going to go out there in the middle of the night and check it. So you could go out there in the middle of the night and check them. I mean, that's what I'd say. I mean, the other thing you do if you don't want to get up like in the middle of the night at various times to check it, I would say get like, you know, like one of those cameras that you could set up outside, like they're hunting cameras that you could set up outside and focus it on the plants that are getting eaten. And then you could just have it record all night. And then, you know, when there's the damage done, review the SD card and see what happened and who's eating it, right? I mean, that's what I would do. Okay. Next question is from BLC 9621. Any new Mycorrhizal recommendations? So I still use the Plant Success Mycorrhizal. It's just a wide spectrum mycorrhizae that is pretty fresh. It also comes with some fertilizer in there, organic fertilizer. I basically just put a little bit on every single root that you see planted behind me. All these starts got a little bit of the shake of the Plant Success Mycorrhizae. Next question from TA Fearnside 7555. Hi, as per your YouTube video, my Jora composter is rusting away. Is it still your recommendation to buy the lifetime 80-gallon tumbler, but they do seem cease manufacturing that size anymore? Do you have any information about that? I wonder whether to buy a smaller version of the lifetime composter tumbler, 189 liter. Any other recommendations on compost tumblers which heat up like the Jora but doesn't rust away? Thanks for your information. All right, as you found, like all my Joras are rusting. I'm quite upset. They don't respond to my emails anymore, so I'm going to make a video about it. I don't recommend the Joras. And yes, I do recommend the lifetime 80-gallon because I still have the lifetime 80-gallon that I set up before my Joras, and it's still functioning. Now, it doesn't heat up quite as well as the Jora because the Jora does have the insulation, but it still works to compost and it's solid. Yes, I do think Lifetime stopped manufacturing those. There's other dual compost tumblers that Lifetime has, including like a barrel one and then one that's square that has like 2 of them in there. And so like I had problems with both those. Between both those, I'd probably recommend the barrel one. I had a little bit less problems. That one mostly just came apart on me, whereas the other one, the square ones, like all the things would pop out and it was just crap. You know, yeah, so I'm still looking for a good composter myself to deal with all the compost I make, which is too much. So yeah, I'm in the middle of that process, like investigating and trying to find the best thing for me. And when I do, I will share it with all you guys. Next question is from Testing YU5GD. Seed packs have a germination and maturity date. I know that weather and growing conditions can slow the harvest down. It seems like my vegetable harvest rarely matches germination and maturity date. I like to plan for succession planting, but have not figured out a way to guess estimate when it will be time to replant. Any suggestions? Zone 6B, Central Ohio. So I don't have any recommendations on that personally. I mean, you basically just have to, like, if you keep records of like last year, like when you have to succession plant and the exact approximate times of how long it took to germinate and how long it took to harvest specific seed varieties, I would say take records and then look back on those and then make adjustments and then plant accordingly. I mean, the other thing I would say is that, you know, seeds are relatively inexpensive. So I'd say, you know, maybe in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month after, right, start a new succession. Or maybe like half, if the days to, you know, whatever, if the number of crop days to finish is like a 50-day crop, then maybe after 25 days, start the next succession ready to go. So by the time that your other crop's coming out, you could plant that new crop, right? I mean, it's always better to have more plants and plant starts ready to go in than not have them available, right? I'm particularly bad at planning out things. That's why actually I buy all my plant starts that I plant myself. So hope that helps you out. Next question is from Diane Ibsen 5994. Can you please tell me why it is that so many sprouts have issues with food poisoning? I got terrible food poisoning from eating sprouts from a chain store. Also, I think it's important to buy local. What are we going to do with all the styrofoam? All right, so, okay, why do sprouts have issues with food poisoning? It's because the sprouting seeds are contaminated. That's the only reason why, and potentially some contamination processes, you know, and because of the contamination that's in the seed or from the place that's growing it, like people didn't wash their hands after going to the bathroom and then they touch the sprouts, right? And they don't have good sterilization, you know, practices, then the sprouts have an outbreak because the sprouts are moist you know, bacteria and all these things like to grow in the moist, and then they multiply exponentially. So there's a lot more bad bacteria on sprouts than regular foods. For that reason, I actually don't recommend you guys buy sprouts at the store. Sprouts are very simple and easy to grow yourself. Buy some seeds, and make sure, very important when you guys buy seeds that do sprouting, buy certified sprouting seeds from a reputable seller. That way they are bacterial tested. If you're trying to cheap out and just get some any old random seeds that are not made for sprouting, they might work, but they could also be contaminated. The problem is if you like put seeds underneath a magnifying glass, there's going to be all these nooks and crannies that bacteria could grow on. So like if I have broccoli, it goes to seed, and there's a bird flying overhead and it poops on the broccoli, right? And the seed's contaminated, right? If I'm growing the seed out to grow broccoli again, it's not an issue, right? But if you're going to grow the seed to sprout and then eat it, that's a big issue. And also too, you know, big commercial growers should have good HAP, you know, HAACP practices in place to avoid contamination, like washing things in chlorinated water and all these other things. But even then, there can be problems, right? So that's why food poisoning happens with sprouts due to contamination issues. I recommend, you know, avoiding buying sprouts from stores. And then as to do what all the styrofoam, I say avoid buying styrofoam. It's not a good thing. All right. Next question is from Mountain Mom Dweller. Hi, thanks for the helpful advice. Excited to get our compost pile into a bin lifestyle. I love to use your coupon code for the Joraform, but it must be expired. Do you have any new coupon codes right now? So, number one, I do not recommend the Joraform any longer. And the company that owned Joraform previously sold out to a new company, which is no longer responding to my emails. So don't buy Joraform. All right. Next question is from Douglas Duhaime. Can you do a video on how you selected the location for your farm in Puerto Rico? All right, I could just tell you. So my best friend lives in Puerto Rico. He bought basically, I think, 5 acres over there. So then I bought the property next to his because it came available, and it's like 3 acres. That's how it was selected. How did he find his property? Because he got kicked out of his place because he was renting. He needed to find a property to live at. And he found this property that was at the top of the hill with a stream down below it, or river, depending on the time of year it is. And it was affordable, and he could buy it, so he bought it. And it was actually close to his work in the hills. So that's how we bought it. That's how I decided it. I mean, if I was just buying something from scratch, I'd probably look for something with more acreage, with more natural resources on the property, and maybe not as much slope. I have a lot of sloped area, which is kind of good and bad, all right? It was good because it made the property cost lower. It's bad. It's going to be a little more challenging to work, and I am having some erosion, all right? All right, next question is from Sue3702. Why not grow from seed? Isn't it expensive buying plant starts? Yeah, so she was commenting on my video where I basically have a plant start haul. So yes, so starting from seed is way cheaper. That being said, starting seeds is a skill that I haven't necessarily learned that good. You know, my way to germinate seeds is I throw them out into my garden and they germinate, right? I don't have the space, the time, the energy, or the planning, you know, foresight to plan ahead to grow all the plant starts. Like this bed has 37 plants, that bed has 37. Like I'd have to grow like all my beds. I have like 20 of these round beds that have 30. I'd have to grow like over 700 plant starts like all at the same time to put in all at the same time. Like I don't have the room, I don't have the time. I can't. I mean, my life's already maxed out. So I buy the plant starts and I get them at the best price in Southern California. Link down below to that video, and I'm happy. So, but if you can, grow from seed, yes. Okay, next question is from Raven Dara Judja Dehaba 7454. Hey John, I recently started watching your videos on juicing. Found your old videos here. Are you still juicing this moringa in a cold press juicers like in Hurom H70? Will it give a good yield? So yes, I grow moringa and I still harvest it and juice it along with my green juice. It does make it a little bit clumpy. And yes, I use the H70 as well as other vertical juicers. The H70 is my favorite because it takes a minute to clean. That's the one I would recommend for most people. Link down below to my YouTube juicing channel where I share and compare all the different major brand juicers so you guys can find the right one for you. Yeah, these days I really favor the H70 when doing small volumes because it takes a minute to clean. Next question is from Happy House Homestead 5354. I love to use Chaya as a privacy plant. Do you think it'll live in 100 degrees Fahrenheit summer temps. All right, so Chaya will survive the summer temps that might have problems in the winter if you guys could keep it alive. Not sure where you're located. All right, down to the last question. Georgia peach. I live in zone 9A/B, 2 hours south of Las Vegas near Bullhead City. Will Moringa thrive here? All right, good question. So let's see. Bullhead is normally warmer in the summer than Vegas. And yes, it'll survive in Bullhead in the summertime. The problem you're going to have is the wintertime, because I think you might get a little bit colder than Vegas in the wintertime. I mean, we got down this year so far till 26 degrees. At we had a lot of days where it didn't quite get a frost yet. We were stayed above 32. We stayed 36, 34. My Moringa still had the leaves on it. They were kind of turning yellowish or light greenish. Wasn't really liking the weather. Really doesn't like below 40 degrees, 50 degrees. I'd say probably 50. But at 26, all the leaves basically just dropped off. That being said, the root stays alive as well as some of the stems, so it's going to sprout up at the spring from the stems. So you say, will Moringa thrive here? I will say it's not going to thrive there because it would like the tropics. It would love to live in LA where it really doesn't freeze, or San Diego. It'll thrive in Puerto Rico, India, Hawaii, South Florida, where it could live year round, where they don't get frost. But where you live in Bullhead City, you're going to probably get a little bit colder, and it's not going to thrive. But you can keep it alive. And so I would say mulch it heavy in the wintertime and grow multiple plants, because maybe one will have better genetics than the other, and one would do good and one won't. That being said, I have been able to keep mine alive. I think we're going on 4 years now. I lost track. But yeah, every year it keeps coming back, and I always have Moringa to eat in the summertime. So it's quite nice, and I always look forward to it shooting out new growth in the spring. All right, so that's it for this month's Q&A. If you guys enjoyed this month's Q&A, I think we're getting about in the 40s now outside. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also share this with other gardeners that love to hear some of my knowledge and wisdom that I get to share with you guys. And thanks for watching me. Also be sure to click the subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes. I've come in every 5 to 7 days. I don't know what new gardening knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you, or what plant starts I'll be sharing with you, or what new places I'll be traveling to, so that you guys can learn more and get excited about growing your own food at home. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check out past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 1,700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all about how to grow your own food and medicine, and fruits and vegetables at home. So with that, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep on growing.